many of your lives. And the crisis of faith in the institutions that have, however flawed they may be, serve as the infrastructure for the American experiment in liberty and self-government. I've defined to my foreign colleagues, heads of state, America, when I was at the G7, I said, America is unique in the world. We're the only nation in the world founded on an idea. Every other nation is founded on ethnicity, religion, geography. Only America is founded on an idea. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all women and men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We say it so often. We've never met the goal, but we've never walked away from it, ever. And each generation has brought us closer to the goal. What you've been through the last 4 years, and I'm not being solicitous with you, if you've been through the last 4 years, you could not have imagined when you were graduating from high school. Campus shut down, classes on Zoom, the world turned upside down. But you got through it. And it took an extraordinary commitment, determination, and resolve to do it. You should be proud you overcame it all to see this day. Your generation, this class, can do anything. I decided to seek the presidency when I had concluded I was a professor at Penn. I wasn't ever going to run again, and I meant that from the bottom of my heart. I just lost my son, Bo, and I had no interest whatsoever. I was teaching at Penn, and then Charlottesville. In the United States of America, in the 20th century, 21st century, people coming on the fields at night carrying torches. Close your eyes, remember what you saw. Their veins bulging, preaching the same hate, white supremacy, chanting the same Nazi phrases, not figuratively, literally, that were being chanted in the 30s in Europe. Torches lit. Again. You know, when I was a young senator, I was proud to be the senator who actually got Strom Thurmond to vote for the Voting Rights Act. I got it extended 25 years, and I thought you can bury hate. You can wipe it out. But I learned a lesson. You can't eliminate hate. It only hides when it's defeated. But when the prominent leaders or leader breathe oxygen under the rocks it's hiding in, it takes on a new life. It comes roaring back out in ways I must tell you I never thought would happen. Because I got in politics sitting where you're sitting because of civil rights in Delaware. And then nearly 4 years later, mob insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, very citadel of democracy. Imagine what you'd be thinking today if you had heard this morning before you got here that a group of 1,000 people broke down the doors of the Parliament of Great Britain, killed 2 police officers, smashed and ransacked the office of members of the British Parliament or any other. What would you think? What would you think? And then just this month, we thought that white supremacy finally being got hold of. Buffalo, New York. Shopping center in the black community. I went and met with every one of those parents, every one of those families. Now, tomorrow I'll be heading to Uvalde, Texas, to meet with each of those families. As I speak, those parents are literally preparing to bury their children. In the United States of America, to bury their children. There's too much violence, too much fear, too much grief. Let's be clear. Evil came to that elementary school classroom in Texas, to that grocery store in New York, to far too many places where innocents have died. In the face of such destructive forces, we have to stand stronger. We must stand stronger. We cannot outlaw tragedy, I know. We can make America safer. We can finally do what we have to protect the lives of the people and of our children. So I call on all Americans this hour. Join hands and make your voices heard. Work together to make this nation what it can and should be. I know we can do this. We have done it before. You and I acted as we, the people, seeking a more perfect union. Always remember, democracy is a human enterprise. We do many things well. Sometimes we fall short. That's true in our own lives. It's true in the life of the nation. And yet democracy makes progress possible. And progress comes when we begin to see each other again, not as enemies, but as neighbors. When I spoke yesterday at Annapolis, I finished by talking about my friend. He was my close friend. On his deathbed, asked me to do his eulogy. But we'd scream at each other and holler like hell at one another. John McCain. Very different views. We still love one another. Not as mindless competing factions, as fellow citizens. We learned anew in our own time that democracy is fragile. Democracy is precious. It's also precarious. Truth is truth. Lies are lies. And the truth is, we have a solemn duty to keep the flame of liberty burning. This is not about blue and red, rural and urban. It's about America. The right to govern ourselves. The right to determine our own destinies, to overcome division and despair. And to meet the challenges of our time with grit, and maybe equally important, with some grace. Press ahead, determined, resolved, and full of hope. It's not easy. It's never been. But it's who we are, people united by an idea, unbending in the face of adversity, and devoted to creating and sustaining the beloved nation of ours. You don't have to take my word for it. Frederick Douglass said it better. He said, no soil is better adapted to the growth of reform than the American soil. The women of Seneca Falls call for suffrage by writing, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all women and men are created equal. Dr. King said his dream of liberty for all was deeply rooted in the American dream. The right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. The right to rise in the world as far as your talent can take you. Unlimited, unfair barriers of privilege and power. Such are the principles of democracy. And such are the principles of America. And I don't think I'm exercising hyperbole. I've been around too long. That's what is at stake today. question we face is nothing less than, who are we? What do we stand for? What do we believe? Maybe more importantly, who are we going to be? Well, this can feel like a very dark moment in America. I'm optimistic. I've never been more optimistic in my entire life. Here's why. I mean this, my word is abiding. I mean it. Because of you, this generation, your generation, makes me more optimistic. I've said it many times. If you look at my granddaughters who all graduated from universities and about to enter them, I'll say it again today. Your generation is the most generous, the most tolerant, the least prejudiced, the best educated generation this nation has ever known, and that's a simple fact. It's your generation, more than anyone else, will have to answer the question, who are we? What do we stand for? What do we believe? Who will we be? Progress in our country has always been met with ferocious pushback from the oldest and darkest forces in America. Always. We should not be surprised that these same forces are fighting back again, preying on hopelessness and despair, demonizing people who don't look like them, doing everything no matter how desperate to hold on to power. This is never going to be an easy battle, and it never has been because it's occurred before in America. The oldest, darkest forces of the past may believe they'll determine America's future, but I promise you, remember I said this, you remember nothing I said at this graduation. They are wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. We will, you will. In this moment, in this battle, we will not lose. The right to vote, the right to self-determination, the right to choose, the right to be you, marry the person you love. We must and will stand together to save the planet and preserve democracy. When America is literally facing war with itself, when Lincoln was president, when Lincoln was president, Lincoln reminded us, he said, let's have faith that right makes might. Right makes might. This is an essential principle of the soul of America. I mean it sincerely, the soul of America. The principle must guide you in your lives, regardless of your politics, conservative, liberal, just human decency. The principle that guides me in my administration. We can and will and should disagree about the means of governance. That's what democracy is about as well. We have to be unified in the purpose of America. Create possibility, prosperity, protect decency and dignity, to be free and fair. Just think about who we are. The bloodiest civil wars led to the abolition of slavery. Generation after generation stood against totalitarianism and terror. And while we, the people, have undertaken great enterprises from building new states to finding vaccines to going to the stars, in all these moments, we were driven as we are today by the most American of principles. We, the people, have created the strongest, freest, most prosperous nation the world has ever known. And again, that is not hyperbole, it's a fact. Now in this moment, we face our own test. To resolve, a test of resolve, a test of conscience, a test of history itself. No generation world they graduate into. None. But a few generations enter at a point in history where they have the power to change the trajectory of the nation. You can. When I sat where you were in the mid-60s, I believed we could, and we did through civil rights, change the trajectory of the nation. And now, I know that may feel like an added burden on top of all you've already been through. I'm not saying you have to shoulder the burden on your own. The task at hand and the task ahead is the work of all of us. What I am saying is, you represent the best of us. You literally represent the best of us. A better America than we are today. A generation, your generation, will not be ignored, will not be shunned, will not be silenced. You have an opportunity to not only reaffirm, but relive life into America's most important values: equality, fairness, justice. That's what I felt like all those years ago when I sat where you were, sitting today. And I mean that sincerely. I didn't think I was going to be president of the United States. It wasn't like I'm going to be president. Although I love reading the biographies. Everybody knew I was going to be president when I was in high school. I had no idea. But for all the uncertainty in the world, this university gave me confidence in myself to engage, get involved. I believed I could make a difference. My sister Valerie and I come from a very modest background. 3-bedroom, split-level home in a decent neighborhood, 4 kids and a grandpa living with us. We never felt we were poor, but we never had trouble making the tuition, which was $300 a year. Not a joke. Per semester, I should say. I hope you feel that way today, though, that you can change things. That's what I see in all of you. You can make the difference. You can lift the country up. You can meet the challenges of our time. I've always believed this nation can be defined by one word, as I said before, possibilities. It's still true today. And so to the university class of 2022, there's no limit on what you can do, I promise you. So get going, for God's sake. Godspeed on your journey, keep the faith, and take it back, please. It's a joy. Take it back. You need me. God bless you all. May God protect our truth. I really mean, I believe in you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, President Biden, for these inspiring words. Let's give the President one more round of applause.